Mr. President, Wall Street analysts have coined a new term called the taco trade. They're saying Trump always chickens out on your tariff threats, and that's why markets are higher this week. What's your response to that?
I kick out?
Chicken out.
Oh, isn't that nice? Chicken out. I've never heard that. You mean because I reduced China from 145% that I set down to 100 and then down to another number? And I said you have to open up your whole country. And because I gave the European Union a 50% tax tariff, and they called up and they said, please, let's meet right now. Please, let's meet right now. And I said, okay, I'll give you till July 9. I actually asked them, I said, what's the date? Because they weren't willing to meet. And after I did what I did, they said, we'll meet anytime you want. And we have an end date of July 9th. You call that chickening out? 6 months ago, this country was stone cold dead. We had a dead country. We had a country people didn't think it was going to survive, and you ask a nasty question like that. It's called negotiation, but don't ever say what you said. That's a nasty question. Go ahead. To me, that's the nastiest question.
The president was in the Oval Office. He got asked about this comment that viewers might have heard here on the show last night. Ambassador John Bolton actually first brought it up. They were essentially saying that Wall Street is using this term about Trump, saying it is taco, essentially. Trump always chickens out is the term. The president himself was asked about this term today and his thought on it, and he reacted quite angrily.
Wall Street analysts have coined a new term called the taco trade. They're saying Trump always chickens out on your tariff threats, and that's why markets are higher this week. What's your response to that?
I kick out?
Chicken out.
Oh, isn't that nice? Chicken out. I've never heard that. We have the hottest country in the world right now. 6 months ago, this country was stone cold dead. We had a dead country. We had a country people didn't think it was going to survive, and you ask a nasty question like that. It's called negotiation. Don't ever say what you said. That's a nasty question. Go ahead. To me, that's the nastiest question.
It wasn't the reporter who came up with that term, but instead it was the Financial Times commentator who joins me now, Robert Armstrong, who came up with this term, taco trade. And it's great to have you here. I mean, what did you make of the president's response to your term?
Well, first, I was sort of knocked over that something that I'd said in my newsletter at the Financial Times to kind of just capture a little aspect of this moment made its way to the White House. But I think the president's response was very telling. The phrase hit a nerve with him because, of course, the facts support the taco thesis, whether it's been on electronics early on or the high tariffs on China or the Liberation Day reciprocal tariffs, or most recently, the high tariffs on Europe. Trump talks big, blows his trumpet, makes a huge fuss, and before negotiations even begin, before he's even made contact with reality, he backs off. And correspondingly, the markets panic at first, then he backs off and markets bounce right up again. And it's just undeniable that this is part of the pattern of markets and this administration.
So when he says it's just a negotiating tactic, you disagree?
I mean, of course, there's no evidence that starting with these outrageous expectations has bought him anything. And the way you can see that is that he's come down before the other side has even. It's like he sees the response of the bond market or the stock market, or he sees his popularity ratings, and that's what makes him back off. It's not the Chinese or the Europeans that are that he's won some concessions from. That simply isn't happening.
What's your reaction to this ruling from this court tonight, essentially bringing most of his tariffs and the most impactful ones that they have counted on to virtually a halt?
Well, it's a halt, but this fight will go on. I think that what has been asserted by the court here is simply that the president is only one branch of government. But I wouldn't be sure at all that that message gets through in the White House. So we're going to have more noise, more posturing, more threats, more recriminations. And so this story isn't dead. We've just arrived at a new phase of it.
President Trump was also asked about the unpredictable nature of his on-again, off-again trade war. He was asked about a term, taco trade, used by a Financial Times columnist. It means, quote, taco stands for Trump always chickens out. Here's part of the exchange.
What's your response to that?
I kick out?
Chicken out.
Oh, and then I chicken out. I've never heard that because I gave the European Union a 50% tax tariff, and they called up and they said, please, let's meet right now. Please, let's meet right now. We had a dead country. We had a country people didn't think it was going to survive, and you ask a nasty question like that. It's called negotiation.
What do you think, Gretchen?
I think that this may be the first negative nickname that sticks with Trump, actually.
Trump taco?
Yeah, no, but chickening out is the big part of this. Look, in Trump's world, he wants to be the most powerful person in the world, and more importantly, he wants to be the person who can make the best deals. If this actually sticks to him, and he actually is chickening out on tariffs, and that becomes a reputation, that's something he won't want to wake up to every morning.
No, what he thinks is, his argument is, look, I make a tough offer, and then they counter, and then like I back off, and that's just negotiation. I'm not chickening out, but it certainly got under his skin.
It definitely got under his skin. And look, I mean, he will always come back to the fact that he's making deals, he's negotiating, and this is what he's going to stick to. And good for him for always coming back to his central message. But I do think that this attack is really smart. So leave it to Wall Street to come up with something that is going to stick. I agree with you, because this isn't the big looming threat to democracy. This isn't the thing that gets people so scared and overwhelmed. This is actually something that people can point to and say, actually, is that true? What is he going to do? Is he going to chicken out? It's very similar to when Walz called Vance and other Republicans weird. It's that kind of thing that sticks, that makes a problem solvable, that doesn't make it so overwhelming that you can't deal with it. I think it's a really, really smart attack on him, and I think he at least responded to it in a very, very positive way. I think getting back to his negotiating and his deals and what he always does and what he's known for. But I'm with you, Gretchen. I think it's going to stick.
Out front tonight, taco. So what does TACO stand for? It stands for Trump always chickens out. It is an acronym that today got a lot of talk on Wall Street to describe Trump's tariff behavior. And so, as that was all making the rounds and people are talking about it, Trump's with reporters in the White House, and a reporter asks Trump to his face what he thinks about TACO and tariffs.
Wall Street analysts have coined a new term called the taco trade. They're saying Trump always chickens out on your tariff threats, and that's why markets are higher this week. What's your response to that?
I kick out?
Chicken out.
Oh, and then I chicken out. I've never heard that. We had a dead country. We had a country people didn't think it was going to survive, and you ask a nasty question like that. It's called negotiation.
Or whether the question was nasty or not, the term does come from a place of truth, which is that markets right now see Trump as a president who cries wolf on tariffs. The facts are that Trump has backtracked on the trade war, his own trade war, right, that he started at least 21 times so far. That's according to Forbes. And it's really hard to figure all this out because there's so many ups and downs all over the place. But let's just take China as an example, because on the issue of China, front and center, Trump slaps 145% tariffs on China and was adamant that he would not back down.
Are you open to pulling back your tariffs in order to get China to the negotiating table?
No.
All right, that was a definitive answer. It was very clear, referring to the 145% tariffs on China. He did not, though, keep that promise. Of course, we all know Trump's 145% tariff was slashed to 30% without any negotiations with China at all.
We're not looking to hurt China. China was being hurt very badly.
He didn't get anything in return from China as of yet. But what he did get each and every time he backed down or flip-flopped on tariffs, whether it was Europe or Vietnam or you name it, was a boost in markets, which is why Wall Street talks about it and may explain their nickname taco. And I'm sorry, we couldn't resist this. You got to have some humor. It's not the sort of taco that he likes, which of course is a taco bowl seen here from a post on Cinco de Mayo. So we know he's a taco eater, but doesn't like to be called one.